Hi everyone, I'm here with your 724 lesson, What Else Can Slope Tell You More About Slope? In recent lessons, you have learned how to find the slope of a line. You have also learned how slope describes the rate of change and the steepness of a line on a graph. In this lesson, you will learn about other information the slope of a line can tell you. So looking at 768, compare the two lines in the graph at right. How are the two lines the same? How are they different? So go ahead and pause your video and answer that question. So if you're back with me, you hopefully have some similarities and differences. So they both start at the same y value, but one increases and one decreases. Part B says each line on this graph describes how much money a person has in his or her wallet over time in days. Explain what is happening to the amount of money each person has. Be specific. So we're going to do this together. So person A starts with $12 and adds $2 to her account every day. Person B starts with $12 but takes $2 out of her account every day. So part C says, to describe how person A's amount of money is changing, the unit rate, slope, represents the amount that is added each day. Since the value of money is increasing, the slope is positive. But what should you do when the value is decreasing? How should the decrease be reflected in the rate slope? Discuss this with your team. So go ahead and pause the video and answer part C. So you should have come up with the slope should be negative to reflect the decrease. The decrease in the value. So if we're adding money, it's a positive slope. If we're taking away money, it's going to be a negative slope. Okay. So we have part D. Remember that the slope ratio compares how the change on the y-axis compares to the change on the x-axis. Lines that go up from left to right show positive rates of change or positive slopes, while lines that go down from left to right show negative rates of change or negative slopes. Find the slope of each line in the graph. So go ahead and find the slope of each of those lines. Okay, so if you're back with me, then you have answered part D. We're going to move on to 769. So the graph at right shows three different lines. Describe each line in words. Is it increasing or decreasing, quickly or slowly? So go ahead and do that. So line A is increasing quickly. Line B does not increase or decrease. And line C is decreasing slowly. Part B says line B is different from the other two lines. As the x value increases, what happens to y? Well, as x value increases, it's going across here, the y value does not change. So C says, slope is a comparison of the change in y over the change in x. Pick 2 points on line B. How can you use a number to represent the change in y between these 2 points? Use this number or the change in y to write the slope for the line B. So let's use the points 1, 4, and 5, 4. So you need to ask yourself the change in y. Well, the change in y would be 0, and the change in x would be 5 minus 1, which is 4. So 0 over 4 is just 0. So the slope ratio would be 0 over 4. Okay. Looking at D, it says recall the units for the change in y are the same as the y-axis and that the units for the change in x are the same as the x-axis. What are the rates of growth for lines A and C? Be sure to include units. So go ahead and answer part D. And then when you're done, I would also like you to answer part E and express them as unit rates. Remember, unit rates is always per 1. When you're done, please upload your pictures to Google Classroom. And if you have any questions, please email us.